And welcome back to another episode of Chaotic Good Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Kate.
And I'm your co-host, Nate. And today we're talking anime.
Anime.
Whoop, whoop. Honestly, one of my favorite things to watch. At least once a day, I watch an episode of something.
You know, up until recently, I was not an anime person. I did not grow up with that. But I've had some close people to me who have turned me to the dark side, the good
No, that's
side.
the light side.
It's the light side?
That's the
Okay.
light side. We literally have a character named Light. Okay, this is the light
Okay.
side.
Okay. But yeah, recently I've been watching it on a fairly daily basis too. I've been getting into some series.
Well, okay. Well, how about I tell you, or what if I told you that uh, Japanese cartoons like anime and such, from going back to the 70s and 80s, pretty much shaped all of entertainment and how we consume it today.
All of it?
Pretty much, yeah.
What? How?
So let's dive in a little bit.
Okay.
But first, so you just said recently that recently you got into anime. I have been watching it since since I was just a tiny little kid. You know, I got into Gundam, some of the Gundam series in the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
And you know, I've been hooked ever since.
Sure.
Let us know in the comments down below when you started watching.
Yeah.
So to understand um, how anime is influenced nearly everything we watch today, why don't we get back into the history of it a little?
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, early Japanimation, before it was even labeled as anime, Japan Animation, shortened Japanimation, was influenced by Disney.
Okay.
Early Disney. But early Disney was basically the first people making, you know, moving picture cartoons. Like they were the first.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some overlap, some influence there.
Yeah, sure. Because like Disney started making full-length feature cartoon animation films in like what, the late 30s, early 40s?
Yeah. Even during silent film era, they were starting to come out with things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Unfortunately, some we'll say foreign entities during one of the wars took inspiration from Disney
Okay.
and wanted to be an artist and was told no, and later on became what they were. But they took so Disney has been inspiring since the 20s.
Wow.
So Disney's been around forever.
Okay.
Um, but going a little bit farther in forward from that, I guess we got to start with the godfather of anime. And I'm gonna
Godfather.
pronounce. Yeah, I'm make me an offer I can't refuse. It was a terrible Brando. I'm gonna butcher a lot of the names in this episode, everybody, by the way, just a heads up. I'm
Sure.
horrible at pronouncing most words. Not even
Okay.
gonna classify as from this country, that just even English words. I'm terrible at pronunciation. Um Osamu Tezuka is the godfather of anime. Considered the godfather of anime. He was the creator of Astro Boy that started way back in the 60s, 1963.
Astro Boy. That honestly rings a very vague bell for me. Did he have like blonde hair with a big swoop in the front?
He had the swoop, yeah, and a lot of video games came from that. A lot of
Okay.
spin-offs, comics, manga, quite a few things all spun off from Astro Boy. It's even influencing, you know, anime today with how they formatted each episode.
Okay.
You know, we wouldn't have anime as it is today if not for Astro Boy and Tezuka.
So how long ago was Astro Boy, like, made?
Well, it ran the original, it ran from 1963 to 1965, and
Okay.
it's, whenever you're watching this, it's 2026 now, recording it. So, a a
That's,
long
like,
time. It's like
50,
50
60
some
years
years.
ago?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Okay.
so that's quite a ways back already to see inspiration from how we consume media now. And there he really kind of coined that style of animation of its the action sequences, for example.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of really expensive animation being done move for move for move. You see like the freeze frame, and there's
Mhm.
there's the voiceovers and the sound effects and the music and everything that really
Mhm.
adds to it, and then the before and after to really set it up. Well, animation was, I mean, it still is very expensive, but it was uh prohibitionally expensive back then. You only animated the minimum because it cost too much. It was a fortune just to make even a short film.
Mhm.
Uh,
So they were doing, like, just enough to keep the plot going and to tell the story so that you could
right,
understand. Okay.
right, but still cutting where they could because they had to, because I mean, it was too expensive.
Yeah.
And you see stuff like that being used today, not only on just regular anime, but look at all kinds of cartoons. Look at
Mhm.
Scooby Doo.
Mhm.
Look at a lot of even today's inspired kids shows like Spider-Man and Friends.
Okay. Yeah.
They have the freeze frame, but they still have stuff going on. Even in live action movies like Zombieland, you'll have a freeze frame and this, and then a voiceover while you have the person standing there, on screen, and that isn't cost prohibitive either. But anime is leaked into so many aspects of life that you can now that it's influencing everything.
Okay. Okay.
And look at the intro and outro music.
Yeah.
There's big bands that travel doing huge tours all across the world, not even just, US or country specific, just worldwide, uh, all stemming from anime.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that it had, like, permeated that far into modern media. That's cool.
Yeah, and, even people who aren't into anime, um, they may not realize the influence that it has on the media that they consume, but it's definitely there.
Yeah. Well, and that actually reminds me, going back to the Twilight episode that we did, they created a manga of Twilight after the books came out, and I thought that was kinda cool, and I've always really appreciated the style of
Yeah,
artwork.
absolutely. I'm a regular manga reader. I'm going through a series. It's new to me. It's not a brand new series, but it's new to me. PTSD Radio. It's a horror manga and it series, and it is so good. It is so creepy. And like I had to read through the first book twice to fully put everything together because
Huh?
it pieces out the stories in like different parts. Like it's a whole, but there's this section is this part of the story, and over here, this section is same thing happening or a different thing happening same time over here. And then in between in the separator pages,
Yeah.
there's an introduction to, like, I would say a villain character that gets revealed one page at a time, split in between each story.
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
weird, but
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I love it. I love it.
Sounds interesting.
It's good.
So, my limited knowledge base on anime, so, like, kind of my introduction to anime in general as a kid was through, like, Pokemon?
Okay. Okay.
But as I got older, so, like, middle school, I started to hear my friends talk about Studio Ghibli
Oh,
films.
my favorite studio. My absolute favorite studio.
And I'm sure there are others besides Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, there's like a Toei, there's Tatsunoko, Madhouse, Gainax. Mappa. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Okay, I think I've heard of Mappa because they've been doing a lot of stuff more recently.
Yep.
Um, but like a classic Studio Ghibli one that I was introduced to when I was younger was Howl's Moving Castle.
Ooh, okay, you're talking my language. That is my favorite anime movie, period.
It's
Close
a
second would
classic.
be, My Neighbor Totoro, but,
Totoro! He's
the
so
little
cute.
ash sprites or soot sprites, all those things are
Yeah,
so
the Soot
cute,
Sprites. I've seen
but
people
they're
put,
in both actually, but yeah.
like, little, bumper stickers of Soot Sprites on their Kias.
Oh, that's adorable. I love it. I'm here for it.
Right? So, you were talking about how Astro Boy really started it off in, like, the '60s, and then as time progressed through, like, the '70s and '80s, what were some of the more, like, bigger name ones that were coming out in the '80s?
So, in the 80s, you had big things like Gundam coming out, and there's so many different Gundam series.
Okay,
Um, like I could go on for days about each different Gundam series that there is. Quite a few of
okay.
them. They're all fantastic. Um, but they're giant flying robots who that's awesome. I love that. um,
So, not Transformers.
no, 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 no. So these are human piloted. So
Oh,
think
okay.
Pacific Rim, but you only need one person to pilot it and they fly. Also, they can go through space.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never seen Pacific Rim.
So Pacific Rim is giant robots fighting kaiju.
Okay, and then for those who might not know, what is a kaiju?
So a kaiju is a giant monster-sized creature. Like
Like
the most
Godzilla?
famous one would yes, Godzilla would be the most famous was King Kong would be another famous one.
Okay. Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be like this otherworldly thing or something like that. It can be, like a giant ape. Like Mothra, a giant, moth, that would be a kaiju.
That would be terrifying.
Mothra, Godzilla versus Mothra is my favorite Godzilla movie. Like the original Mothra. That thing was so janky. I loved it. I'm here for it, but that's a
Doesn't
whole
seem
other
like
thing.
a that doesn't seem like a very fair fight.
We have got to do an episode on Godzilla because
Okay.
I've been watching like even the black and white ones with my
Uh-huh.
grandmother since I was like 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
So she
Okay.
really got me into the Godzilla, into the kaiju and stuff, which kinda easily led me into anime. Um,
Okay.
I don't know why, it just my brain connected it as well, these are kind of it's like the same thing, but in cartoon form.
Okay. Makes
'Cause
sense.
one of the first ones I saw was Gundam, giant robots, and one of the Godzilla movies I saw was Mecha-Godzilla versus Godzilla, so it's giant robot, cool, okay, so then my little kid brain made that connection.
Wow. So
Um,
you've talked about Gundam quite a bit, and I know there were a couple others that had come
yep,
out.
so Sailor Moon was a really good early one,
Oh,
Inuyasha was a
okay.
good one,
Okay.
um, and then we've got, like, Dragon Ball Z well, Dragon Ball came
Okay.
first.
Oh,
So
okay.
Dragon Ball is when they were when Goku and Krillin were kids, and it follows their training up into adulthood, which is where Dragon Ball Z picks up, and then
Okay.
kinda goes on from there. Um, Sailor Moon didn't run very long, but it was really good. I mean, I've watched it again as recently as last month.
Oh, okay.
Akira, Ghost in the Shell, so many people, even outside of anime, might be familiar with that one. There's been movie adaptations, there's been video game adaptations. There's a comic book adaptation. Well, not comic, I should say graphic novel, but
Okay. Okay.
little difference, I guess. Little difference. Novels and comics. So
Yeah. So, how did you get access to these animes? Because, like, I know nowadays we have Crunchyroll or
right.
streaming stuff online, but before the internet was in everybody's house, how did kids get, access to anime?
Good question. It was one of really two ways. Either you had local channels that like Saturday morning cartoons used to be a big thing. And then
Mm,
every once in
mhm,
a while, they would have an anime in there, like Sailor Moon was one that would be slipped in, because it was, pretty kid friendly. Uh,
mhm,
Stuff like that, it would be slipped in there. Or you or a friend of yours had satellite, and then you would watch
mm.
it on Cartoon Network. Was the
Oh,
two big
okay,
ways.
okay.
And then
So
in between internet streaming and that, it was things like, stores like PacSun, which I don't think exist anymore. Um,
no, I don't
FYE carried, on, like, VHS or
okay,
DVD.
yeah,
So you'd have to go to stores like that a little bit later on, and that was more into the '90s. In the '80s, you didn't really see,
okay,
anime on VHS really.
okay,
Um,
okay.
and if you did, they weren't they weren't dubbed over, they were only subtitled at that point. So you had to learn to as a little kid, you had to know to be able to read and watch and understand that the language they're speaking means the words at the bottom. So if you're like 5 or 6
Yeah,
years old and this is what you wanna watch, your parents wouldn't buy that. They'd be like, "I have to read a book to my kid for them to watch something?"
that's not letting the TV babysit my kids. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Um, so that's like the '80s and '90s, and then I remember like, I was little in the early 2000s, and I do remember a lot of kids on the bus talking about Naruto.
Oh, yes, early 2000s. Naruto was big, Bleach was big, One Piece really started taking off. Um, like, these were like the big 3. So Naruto, that series is still going. It's Baruto. It's him as an adult, just kind of like with
Okay,
Dragon Ball, going through Dragon Ball Z, going all the way through to the main characters from being kids to having kids. Naruto goes the same route, all the
okay.
way through. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I won't talk specific details about things that happen. Um, but spoiler alert, he does grow up.
It's not like The Simpsons where they're the same age for 35 years.
Exactly. That is one thing I do appreciate about these long running anime is they show these characters growing both physically and emotionally and intellectually. They show real personal growth all the way through, and it's not
Mhm.
like an arc where it goes up and then down. It's just they're climbing.
Yeah,
There's lots of ups
and
and downs throughout it. It's very unsteady. It's twisty, it's turny. There's never a straight path. But in reality, in our lives, is there ever really a straight path forward to our goals? It's windy,
fair.
twisty, turny. It's ups, it's
That's
downs.
that's a really good question. I've noticed with a lot of animes that I've been kind of getting into is that the characters that are having to deal with whatever problems they face, they can be very easily translated into real, like, psychological issues that people deal with in daily life. Things
Absolutely.
like anxiety, depression, PTSD, things like that. A lot of them also, I've noticed, follow the hero's journey in
They
the
do.
storytelling, which I've seen a lot of people use in, like, therapeutic practices and stuff like that. So it could easily be said that anime could be pretty good therapy.
Honestly, I could sign on for that, as someone who has struggled with, a lot of anxiety and depression issues myself. It really is
Mm,
inspiring because it shows, these characters even struggling through grief,
mm,
and, like, real grief, like, of parents or a spouse or a child,
yeah.
and it explores what that looks like as well. And every time a character has managed to get through these difficult situations, whatever anime it is, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, any of them, it's because they have a group of either given or chosen family that helps
Mhm.
them through.
A
and
strong support system.
exactly, exactly. It shows that the characters don't rely on just their own strength, but on the strength and support of those around them. And the better people they have around them, the better they're able to recover and move forward and still chase after, their dreams, their goals, and still be able to help people along the way. I took a
Mhm.
lot of inspiration from that and started surrounding myself with a lot of good people, and I've noticed too that that has made such a world of difference in my mental health, being able to be, around not necessarily like-minded people, but kind, helping, supportive people. It doesn't matter if you have different backgrounds, like different things, whatever. If you're kind and supportive to one another, it's huge.
Yeah.
And anime's really taught me. I think it's taught a lot of people that is like the goal.
Yeah. Well, and I think that speaks to the Japanese culture as a whole. They're so far less individualistic than a lot of Western cultures are. And I think we could learn a lot from that.
Absolutely, absolutely. The saying, "It takes a village to raise a child," um,
Mhm.
we should really take that more to heart, but it doesn't take a village to just raise a child, it takes a village to raise a village. Like, I know
Yeah.
it sounds redundant, but you know what I mean? Like, even into adulthood from the day you're born till the day you pass, you need supports.
Yeah, absolutely.
Support just looks
So,
different as you grow, as you age.
um, that leads me into thinking about the one anime that I know probably the best would be Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Oh, okay. That's
and
a very
just
good one.
how well written it was, the characters, the storytelling, the lessons learned, and how that really permeated into a millennial culture growing
Uh-huh.
up. And it wasn't just Avatar, there was a lot of different animes. I mean, looking back, all I can think about is how many different shows that had merch and gear that they were selling at Hot Topic.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um,
Yeah, I am blessed to know, some of how the behind the scenes stuff of some of stuff like that. I do a lot of research, lot of research on stuff like this. So, I've been blessed to be able to see how some of that was created behind the scenes, and they had really good consultation when they were writing it on Eastern cultures,
mm,
uh, like the actual, from how the tea stuff works, um, how the type of furniture, the type of attitudes, and how respect was shown. Even the bowing
mhm,
was slightly modified from a proper kung fu bow. They even
mhm.
had professional martial artists on in like the suits, the tracker suits, so that they could get the martial arts correct. They put a
That's
lot of
cool.
Yeah, they put a lot of effort into it, and it's phenomenal how well that turned out, and it's really sad to see how some of the other stuff after has turned out compared.
Okay. What do you mean?
Well, the movie that shall not be named was atrocious, for
Oh,
example.
shamalama ding dongs.
Ding Dong is right, that was a horrible adaptation. That should never have
Oh,
been created.
I never
Well,
went to see it, so
I unfortunately did, and I don't think there's enough bleach in this earth that could clean my eyes after that. It was awful.
Oh, man, I heard well, didn't they do a cartoon movie recently, or it's like a spin-off series with the characters as adults?
Oh, so there's a couple of new things. So they are doing a live action series adaptation of the
Oh,
series. They are doing a after Aang, so Korra, the Legend of Korra, which is
yes, I
the
loved Korra.
I take a lot of issue with.
Really? Why?
She ignored a lot of the good training that she had to go and do her own thing because it's what she wanted to do. Some may argue, but that's a good thing. But look what it turned into.
Mm,
Every single avatar after her loses all connection with all the previous iterations. Completely lost it. She essentially ruined how the spirit world and the physical world interact. Uh,
She did change that, I remember that much. I might have to go back and rewatch it a little
the
bit.
my take on it is what she thought was right caused so many problems and so much chaos that it's basically ruined everything for the next Avatar and going forward, and they're gonna have to build from less than scratch.
Hmm,
And
okay.
I say that knowing that there is yet another Avatar movie or series that's out that's still being made. That's the Avatar after Korra.
Oh, I didn't know they were gonna continue it, but that's cool.
The struggles that they go through is, I mean, I get it. After watching, even one episode of that, then look back and rewatch Legend of Korra, and it's like, oh yeah, she made some real bad calls, really
Yeah.
bad calls.
Well, and her challenges that she had to face were a lot more they were a lot bigger than what Aang was facing. Like, yeah, he had some pretty insurmountable struggles, but, like, she was facing gods, like demigods, essentially. And Aang
Honestly,
was
she didn't have to.
true,
All
that was
she
a
had to do was
choice.
not engage with certain individuals, and none of that would have happened.
That's true. That's true. But I've seen some people choose to dress up as her at certain Comic Cons.
Really? Are you
Uh-huh.
one of those certain people?
No, I've
Okay.
never actually gotten into cosplay. I've wanted to. I've wanted to.
I I am putting together 3 different outfits currently.
Okay.
One as a full-on wizard. I'm making all of my cosplay myself. So one
Oh,
is a full
yeah.
wizard. Like I made the hat, I'm making the robes, everything. Another one is a barbarian character.
Okay.
That one's mostly for Ren fairs, because why
Mhm.
not? And also doing a shaman character again for Ren
Okay.
fairs.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. But it would be safe to say that with the surgence of anime in Western culture has definitely changed the aspect of costuming,
Oh,
cosplay,
absolutely.
um, and how people take these characters that they relate with and put their own personal interpretations on them.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. Just seeing some of the absurd weaponry or costume choices and some of the artwork, and then seeing people using, clay foam or spray foam or a lot of foams, styrofoams, whatever, anything really, really light and either moldable or carvable. They'll turn into pieces for wings or weaponry or any number of accessories. And then it can go even further into the 3D printing, and you'll see people in these whole suits that have
Mhm.
internal mechanisms, but it's all, it's printed plastic, so it's not so heavy that you can't move in it.
Right.
And then you see how that is more easy to work with to wire in lighting or these smoke diffusers or whatever for extra special effects. Um,
Yeah.
and a lot of that inspiration does indeed come from anime.
Yeah.
Without those artworks, we wouldn't have people even having a large amount of people having the inspiration to make these things, and that's really turned into like
Yeah.
an entire industry all on its own.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. And it kind of speaks to how universal some of this stuff is because, like, I remember when I was younger, it was definitely a nerdy thing to be
Mhm,
into anime,
mhm.
and, to be called a weeb was not necessarily a term of endearment.
It
Um,
wasn't, and if I've learned what that term originally meant, it is very much not a nice thing to be called.
It's
But
a
I've been watching anime
derogatory
since
term.
it is. But I've been watching before that term existed.
Right, right,
Not
and
like religiously, but, "Oh, these are my favorite things to watch."
yeah. Do you think there were certain celebrities or any celebrities, I guess, that kind of helped bring it more into mainstream culture?
Oh, yeah, there's more than you'd know. Well, look at Billie Eilish, for example. She's
Okay,
still pretty current. A lot of her styles, uh, like just fashion styles alone could be attributed to anime. Uh,
okay.
you know,
I
there's
didn't realize that.
yeah, there's kind of that feel. She has a lot of inspiration coming from that. Pharrell, I mean, he's taken a lot of inspiration as well. Uh, mhm. Yeah, it's in hip hop, it's in rap, it's in even in rock music. Um,
What?
baby metal.
Oh, okay,
Baby metal is
okay.
straight up anime music.
That's true, that's true, and the more that I watch, I'm trying to, like, diversify my palette here of anime, and the more I listen to, like, the intros and outros, it's like, this is just Japanese pop and rock music.
Yeah.
And
Um,
I had no idea, like, this is a whole new thing that I'm getting into and
yeah, it's a pretty
discovering.
big thing. Rosalia is another really good anime band. They
Okay,
do a lot of intro, outro music, but they also tour. Um,
okay.
there's actually quite a few big ones if you're into you know music that's not necessarily English. I don't really
Mhm.
care what languages it's in. If it's good music, it's good music. But um,
For sure. Because I
I
was
mean,
kind of noticing with the rise of K-pop and K-rock, not that it's, necessarily Japanese or anime based, but
right.
a lot of people that was like a door opening for them to get into Eastern cultural things.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, yeah,
and
BTS has been huge forever,
for a
and
long time.
yeah, and a lot of people kind of got introduced to that kind of music with them, or very similar, K-pop bands.
Yeah, for sure. Have you noticed so, like, it didn't used to be a cool thing, but now it's kind of a cool thing or just, like, an interesting facet of a person's personality to be into anime and Japanese culture? Do you think that people are currently forgetting or going to forget where it all kind of originally stemmed from?
Honestly, a lot of people that are into anime right now or getting into it, I'm not sure how many of them actually know where it really started.
Mhm.
That as this culture progresses, as things move forward, and it becomes more and more acceptable, you get a lot of people that are like, "Oh, hey, I like this. This is cool. It's kind of an okay thing, whether it is or is not popular, but it's not like this bad thing. So I'm gonna try it out or get into it or see what I like." You get more and more people that just don't associate the history with it at all. So I do think the amount of people that understand where it started is in the minority of total fan.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people that are getting into it because it's trending.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad trend to have, because I feel like the more what's the word? I mean, I keep using the word diverse, but I feel like that's a pretty apt description. I feel like the more that
Yeah,
we can
absolutely.
learn from other cultures and how they represent themselves in media, the more educated the public is gonna become, and I don't think
Well,
that's a
yeah.
bad thing.
I agree. Being familiarized with other cultures in at least in this way, getting as a foot in the door to start learning. Hey, we're not the only ones in this universe, kind of thing. It's probably a good
Mhm,
thing.
mhm.
Um, and hopefully, that kind of cultural diversity and acceptance of different customs and traditions can grow. Like, I mean, that is my hope, at least with the growing influence of anime is more and more people accept more and more cultures that just because it's not normal to us doesn't mean it's, isn't normal for them. Like, what is normal?
And I would say it's kind of cool too how a lot of bigger names in like sports, and we already talked about
Mhm,
music, but
mhm.
also fashion are kind of grabbing onto this and saying, hey, this is a
Yeah,
cool thing, and this is another demographic that we can add to our audience. Um,
absolutely. You'll even see in, like, high fashion, like fashion shows, runways and stuff, you'll see anime-inspired outfits at
yeah,
in certain shows, and I'm very bad with fashion names, so if you guys know, please let us know in the comments. I That's not my world. Um But it's incredible to see some of the photos coming from these shows that's like, "Wow, that looks just like this character or that character. How did
right?
they pull that off in such a sleek way that it looks nice on a real person?" 'Cause,
Yeah,
some of these outfits would look ridiculous in real life, but they're able to make them look really good and fit an actual person instead of this
yeah.
character.
Yeah, and that's the kind of that's kind of a thing with what quote unquote high fashion is it's
It
not
looks
necessarily meant
ridiculous.
for everyday wear.
Right, it's not supposed to be something you wear regularly, but every once in a
No.
while, they pull off an anime look that it's like, I may not wear that every day, but I would love to wear that to a con.
Yeah. And not only that, but I feel like anime has had a little bit of influence on people trying out not just fashion and music, but also food.
Oh, absolute I myself has several cookbooks from different animes.
And not just food, but drinks as well.
Mhm.
And I feel like this would be a good time to mention our sponsor.
Hey, real quick, this episode is brought to you by Dubby Energy. If you're the type of person who pulls late nights watching anime, gaming, or deep diving into some wiki lores, Dubby is basically made for you. It's powdered energy, zero sugar, zero crash, zero jitters. Just clean focus in whatever flavors you're into. And trust me, the flavors are anything but boring. Think like Japanese yuzu, s'mores, and tropical punch. I mean, they've got wild ones. One scoop, some cold water, and you're locked in. Check them out at w.gg and use our offer code CGR26 to get a 10% discount. Okay, back to the show. And we're back. I'm sorry, y'all. Apparently, I am just a riot outside of filming.
We were arguing over the differences between chocolate milk and hot chocolate besides temperature, and I say that there is none, but that's just my
There's
opinion.
definitely a difference. Like, cold hot chocolate and chocolate milk have different feels and viscosity, different mouthfeel.
For mouthfeel.
Different mouthfeel. Yep. It's like thick water versus thin milk feel.
Anyway, um,
Let us
okay,
know your
so
thoughts in the comments down below.
is cold hot chocolate just chocolate milk? That is the question.
Yes. And I say no.
So, we were talking about anime's influence into pop culture, and
Oh, yes, yes. Even like
yeah,
big name athletes like Kevin Durant and Adele Beckham Jr. even have come out and said that they're fans of anime as well. So it's
yeah,
it used to be like the jocks and the nerdy kids. It's not that anymore. It's, people can enjoy stuff like even D&D. You'll find NFL players and professionals from across all different kinds of professions all coming together to play. So I really think the nerdiverse is growing, and people are
nerdiverse.
accepting that. Yes, the nerdiverse. People are
I
finally
love that word.
accepting that it's a good thing.
I think it has definitely been helped with the likes of Terry Crews and Henry
Mm-hmm.
Cavill and
Mm-hmm.
Joe Manganiello, and yeah, and the nerdiverse is expanding because everyone should be allowed to express their inner nerd. And
Exactly. And besides, the real universe is expanding exponentially, anyways. So why not the nerdiverse?
yeah,
Just expand
why
with it.
not? Why not? Let's break some rules of physics with
Woohoo!
anime.
I mean,
So
that's what anime
speaking
is famous for doing in the episodes, right?
that is so true.
Like, how many
Um,
physics breaking powers do you see in like all of these? Like, how do
right.
you turn a log into a shadow clone of yourself that moves and operates and looks just like you? And as soon as it takes a blow, it poofs back into a log. Doesn't make any sense. It's cool. I want that
Yeah,
power because I want to train my clone to do all of my house chores while I go do something I want to do.
that's craziness. So speaking of breaking things, that would probably fall more into the shonen category
Oh,
of anime.
definitely. There's all kinds of different categories. Shonen is, yeah, that's, the high action, but also an emphasis on personal growth and friendship. Um,
Okay.
and growing through friendship. Like Naruto is a really big one. Um, My Hero Academia, which is one of my favorite anime of all time, definitely fits into the shonen category as well.
I'm pretty sure Megan Thee Stallion said that was in her top 5.
Really?
Yeah. She's a
Okay.
huge anime nerd too.
Yeah, and well, see, there you go. Even more pop artists,
Mhm.
uh, just being heavily involved with expanding anime and making it more normalized. Because
Mhm.
honestly, why shouldn't it be?
Anime's for
Um,
everybody. So there's shonen. What's another
yep.
category?
So we've got all kinds of there's like shojos, which are more of your romance or emotional pieces. Like Sailor Moon has that kind of thing with Tuxedo Mask,
Okay.
or Fruits Basket, which is really just a romance story about a girl and the Chinese zodiacs as people.
Okay. Very
The
cool.
it honestly, it's a really nice one, it's a calm one, there's really isn't any action, there's not much for drama either, but it's very, emotionally depth, and it's very high story.
Okay.
Then there's the darker stuff, like the Seanens, Berserk, the Vinland Saga, they're really more mature themes, they're,
I've
weird,
I've
dark.
heard some things
Yeah.
about Berserk and
Yeah,
specifically to not purchase that manga just because of how violent it is.
Baki fits right into that one, that as well, which is basically it's a fight tournament. Um, think like an extra, extra, extra bloody version of Street Fighter.
Okay.
But then we've got there's also like my all-time favorite category, isekais, which is the main character always dies in the first episode. It starts with death. Like within first
Okay.
like 10 minutes normally, first 5-10 minutes, main character dies. But then they're
Okay.
transported to another world, another dimension, another something, and reincarnated as something else,
Okay.
and then it follows their reincarnated life. There's some really good ones in there. Some could argue Sword Art Online is kind of like that. It doesn't follow traditional isekai because they're alive, they're just stuck in a virtual world. But then you've got more of your traditional ones, like I was reincarnated as a slime, stuff like that. I've been killing slimes for 10,000 years as a witch, is another really good one.
I heard that The Wizard of Oz could technically be classified as an isekai.
Maybe if you interpret the beginning of Dorothy as actually being killed, then 100%.
Well, I mean, her house gets literally picked up by a tornado and dropped in another world, so is very unlikely she survived that.
But at the same time, when she wakes up, it was all just a dream.
Mm, that yeah. I haven't
So,
read the book, so I don't know how different it is from the movie, but I feel like that might have been a Hollywood twist they put on it to give it a happy ending.
the old black and white, you think?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. I haven't read the book either. I've read Wicked, but I haven't read Wizard of Oz.
Wicked.
Wicked's good. I saw
That's
that
such
live too when it was first out and touring. Fantastic.
yeah. Let's go defy some gravity.
Yes.
Okay, and
Um,
then
So then we've got others like slice of life, which are
Mhm.
it's like following things like Haikyuu, which is a volleyball anime. So it just follows the lives of these students as volleyball players, or Rising Impact, which follows the life of these students that compete in golf. So it follows their golf competition, stuff like that. It's regular life reframed in an exciting way, essentially.
Okay.
And then you've got the really creepy stuff like the horror psychological animes, like Paranoia Agent, Perfect Blue, Junji. My favorite one in this category right now is Dandadan.
That's a horror one?
It's aliens and ghosts
I mean, y yeah, yeah, but it's got a little bit of romance in there.
and a lot of comedy. It does have a lot of comedy
Lotta
in it as well.
comedy.
Yes, it's I see, I would put that in like, we have like funny horror or fake horror just for,
Mhm,
I'd classify that as a similar thing. Um,
mhm,
Parasite is a fantastic, I know there's a movie, but the anime came out way first and it's not the same thing. Uh,
yeah. I think
it's
they're spelled
Parasite
differently
with a
too.
Y.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
really good, it's crazy. Don't watch it if you have a queasy stomach, though, because there are
Mm,
some really skin-crawling scenes in that
yeah.
series.
So, what, genre do you typically default to?
Isekai or shonen are my top 2.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay,
but if, like, I'm exhausted and I just want to recharge, I'll watch something, more of the slice of life. Like, I'll put Rising Impact on in the background while I do some crafty stuff or writing.
okay.
Um, Free Rent is a really, really nice one to put on as well, especially when you're just exhausted, wanna unwind, and that's more, I guess that's more on it's like a shoujo shonen mashup,
Yeah, a little bit.
'cause
It's
it's a
it's a cozy
lot.
show for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's a shonojo. I don't know.
Shounojo.
Shonojo. I don't know. Because there's such a heavy influence of, looking back at, uh, past relationships with friends and
Mhm,
maybe more than friends. Um,
mhm.
and also showing how current friendships are shaped by that, but there's also a decent amount of action mixed in with it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I would say I kinda default to shonen as well, and I think that's in part because of my gateway anime. So,
Mhm.
like, I had talked about Pokemon and Avatar: The Last Airbender, but the one that really got me into, like, anime made for adults was Attack on Titan.
Ooh, see, I would put that more in the horror side than I would on the shonen side.
What about seinen? Because it was definitely a darker theme overall. It had a lot more context and nuance thrown in there that, a younger audience probably would have completely missed out on.
Mhm. I
Um,
mean, that's fair. I mean, you could
and
argue that with, Death Note as well.
I haven't seen Death Note, but that was a really popular one my friends were into in middle
It
school.
it's yeah,
Um,
I watched that one all the way through too, couple times. It's really good. It has a little bit of slice of life. It has a little bit of the shonen stuff in there, but it also is really, really dark and has a lot of thriller aspect to it as well. So
m'kay.
that's, I mean, there are some that really fit well into multiple categories, to
Yeah,
be honest. So it's hard to, some of them it's hard to nail down into one type. Um,
yeah.
but others like Naruto or Fruits Basket are really easy to categorize at the same
Sure,
time.
sure. Another one, like you had talked about the horror and psychological one, I had watched a collection of Junji Ito short films,
Oh, okay.
and that I will argue that his animation style and storylines are far more horrific than a lot of horror movies that I have seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah, they really are hard to watch if you're in, like, a anxious headspace for sure. They're way more graphic than anything else I've ever seen, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of the big difference is that, like, with the live action horror movie, you can kinda see where the special effects and the practical effects take place,
Right.
but when it's a cartoon animation, it's there, it exists, it's all very real to the characters in the story.
There's another one, Goblin Hunter is it's called.
Mhm,
I couldn't even get through the first episode of that one. Some of the themes on how they villainized goblins in the first episode. Well, they were villains. They were villains. There's no two ways around it. Um,
mhm,
has very very mature themes that are. As a person with PTSD, it was very difficult to watch. So
yeah,
I couldn't quite get through that one.
fair, totally fair. Um, so there's the whole sub versus dub
Mhm.
argument,
Uh,
and I've heard it from friends and family of mine too. Some definitely have a preference of one over the other. Do you?
I do. I like dubbed over subbed because I mean I know the subtitled it's more accurate to what was written.
Mhm,
I do understand that, but I like the dubbed because there's certain voice actors I really enjoy listening to, that are both they're in anime, but they've also been in other stuff as well. I really enjoy supporting, some of these voice actors' careers because they do such a good job, and having worked in film industry, I know how tough it is, as, like, an independent contractor type situation like they are in, how that is a hard industry to crack into, and man, you've gotta work your butt off to make a living off of that. So,
mhm.
I'm gonna support the people I think do a good job, and that's one of the ways I can do that.
Yeah, and that's a totally valid reason. I like dubbed versions. I also like just subbed versions as well because I'm gonna have the subtitles on regardless.
Yep,
Because
I know some people that are like that too. It's like the subtitles aren't on, I can't hear it.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
basically.
It's
Um,
really funny to do that with some animes because, what's being said and what's the subtitles say don't always match.
even if it's dubbed. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep,
I've
the
I've
words
noticed
don't match,
that.
the phrasing does, or they're doing something completely different and, what they're saying something unrelated to what's written, and
Mhm.
I don't know, sometimes I get a kick out of it.
So is there a show that you would recommend to someone who is like, "I don't like anime. There's it's not for me."
Yeah, there's several. Um, I would actually go with, Studio Ghibli on this one.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think Spirited Away would be a really perfect one for that.
Mm.
It is so creative, it is very well done, the animation style is so clean, it's
Mhm.
polished, it looks fantastic, it's such an easy story to follow, and it's so creative. Um, it's
Mhm.
really hard to find anything not to like.
Well, and the other thing with any Miyazaki film is it's going to have really good lessons
Mhm.
in every single storyline.
Absolutely
Um,
relatable, easily relatable one.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, like I was saying before, I think for someone who doesn't necessarily want to be classified as a nerd, but wants to get into anime or just to explore it a little bit, um, I would recommend Attack on Titan, and the reason I say this is because my boyfriend and I had had this discussion, and he was like, "I need you to start watching anime because I need you to watch shows with me and not, just be on your phone all the time." I'm like, "Okay, fine." And he's like, "I've got the perfect show for you." He picked it because it's got action and violence, so that will keep me entertained. It's got a lot of allegorical lines towards actual historical events
Mhm.
because there's a
That's true.
parallel between Attack on Titan and World War II,
Mhm.
um, and the character development along the way. and the
There's
mystery elements that are
yeah.
happening with that as well. And the magic aspect of that universe wasn't totally unbelievable.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a little less fantastical.
there we go. Yeah, it wasn't so fantastical. So I would definitely recommend Attack on Titan, and, if you're looking for something that's definitely gonna put you in the feels, that's more of a slice of life, I guess, and it's really, really sad, and it should come with a whole bunch of trigger warnings, but, Your Lie in April
Yep,
was
yep.
a really good one, that I would recommend to my depressed people who need a good cry.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a really, really good one to release all of those pent up emotions for sure. Just
so
have your Ben&
what
and Jerry's available right there.
Yeah, have your box of
It's
tissues, get
yep,
out your ice cream, get
yep.
out your hot pad and your cozy blanket, get ready for a good cry.
Now if you want something with a lot of actors that you can, recognize from films, that are nowhere near considered nerdy,
Ponyo! The
Ponyo.
Ghibli one about,
Yeah, about
the
the
little
fish,
girl.
that little girl,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes, Ponyo, there you go.
Yeah,
Like I said, my pronunciations of everything are so atrocious,
I was a little confused because 'cause I'm
but
like, "Liam Neeson."
yeah, yeah,
Well, I
Liam
know
Neeson and Betty White, do voice acting together in this one.
well, and there
It's
was Kate Blanchett
amazing.
and, the youngest Jonas brother, and Noah Cyrus was the voice of Ponyo.
Mhm.
Um, Studio Ghibli has gotten a lot of big names to do voice acting, but, like, what would you say is your all-time favorite anime and why?
My all-time now, were we talking series or movie? Because they are very different.
Let's do both.
Let's do both. Movie is definitely Howl's Moving Castle.
Mhm,
The art style is phenomenal. The all of the underlying themes that you see woven into it about, war and governments and exploitive use of power and knowledge
mhm,
over using it for just the betterment of others and the selfishness that can come with some of that power, but also there's so many good themes. But at the same time, it's such a comforting show to watch too. I mean, because basically in the end, the wrongs have been righted. But it's just beautiful. The music too is so soothing. You have a
yeah.
hard day, you put that on. The artwork it's beautiful. It's soft. It's just such a good film. It can go really deep or be really surface and just pretty. Uh,
Mhm.
how about you for movie?
Movie. Oh, man. Um, just 'cause it's kind of sticking out in my mind right now, and it blew me away because it was my first time seeing an anime movie in theaters, was Infinity Castle from Demon
Oh,
Slayer.
Demon Slayer. That is a very
Yeah,
good series.
yeah, and I loved, um well, like we were talking about earlier with how they made the villain kind of a relatable character. They sympathized the villain a little bit with his
Yeah,
backstory.
yeah, humanizing your villains in a way that, it's like, "Oh, I can see where the origins come from and why they are the way they are."
Mhm.
I mean, it adds a level of depth that, it makes it hard to hate them, but you still can't like them.
Yeah, and the fight scenes were phenomenal. Oh my god.
Oh, they always do a good job though. From episode 1, of
Yeah,
that series, the fight scenes had it's very artistic. They took a lot of creativity in just how the fighting even occurs, and the difference
yeah,
between the trained and the untrained fight scenes too are just crazy. I mean, it's like it's not even in the same universe.
yeah,
Um, it is unique in a lot of good, wonderful ways.
yeah, and I think they did such an excellent job fleshing out the main character too,
Mhm.
um, and giving him the hero's journey, but adding depth to it and adding that very, very real struggle that many people go through with grief and the desire to protect his little sister.
Yeah,
Um,
his at the current point, his little sister doesn't need protecting anymore.
nope,
Not
nope.
even it's the other way around at this point.
Yeah, a little bit, honestly.
I
Um,
mean, she turned out to be, uh, both adorable and horrifying at the same time. I'm not
yeah.
really sure how you
Well,
can
and
balance that so well, but they do. They do a good job with that.
they do. What would you say is an underrated anime that deserves more attention?
Whoo, boy, that's a hard question that you are asking. There are so many. I'm gonna have to go with one that I mentioned earlier, which was Rising Impact.
Okay.
It's just about kids joining a golfing league, but the struggles and the themes are oddly relatable.
Okay. Okay. I will have to take a
Seeing
look at that one.
seeing how they overcome like simple obstacles that we would deal with today, like really bad weather and the just things that we would actually come across, and seeing how their decisions and their drive to achieve their goals helps them find creative avenues through these trials. It's pretty
Mhm.
inspirational. It's
Okay.
not one to sleep on, that's for sure.
Okay. I don't think I have enough, uh, in my repertoire of anime to recommend an underrated one because the ones that I've been seeing are the really popular ones so far.
Okay, I gotcha.
Um, what would you
Now
say is an
I was gonna say, well, then would you do you have like a most overrated in your opinion, since you've only really seen the more popular ones?
I don't know if any of them are really overrated of the ones that I've seen, because turns out that the clout is, you know, valid.
Deserved?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally deserved. One that I hadn't actually heard a whole lot about until, I finally got that Crunchyroll subscription, Solo Leveling.
Oh, that's a good one too. If
Yeah.
you like solo leveling, also check out Shield Hero.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
kind of in the same vein.
Okay. It had a video game aspect to it, and it was a
Mhm.
little bit darker. Um, and to me, it reminded me of, like, mini D&D side quests that he was going on and doing by himself.
Yeah.
He was solo
Um,
leveling.
Shield Hero is very similar, and it has that video game esque like the menus. And I do have one, and this might be a controversial opinion that I feel is a little bit overrated.
Okay.
Castlevania. I played the original video games and everything, and it
Okay.
steered away from the original lore just enough that I was like, okay, I love the animation style and I love what you're doing, but you've gone far enough away from the actual inspo content that it should be its own thing.
Interesting, 'cause, I had seen that a few years ago when it came out, and I think that's one that Richard Armitage is a voice actor for
Mhm.
too.
Yep.
Um, I loved it. I loved the okay, I'm kind of a hoe for any sort of vampire story,
I was
honestly.
gonna say, like, there's a theme running in all of the things you really like.
Yeah. Um, but I watched it and I was like, "This is a totally different take on Dracula that I have
Yeah.
never seen." And I really appreciated it. I was gonna say that that one might be a little bit slept on because I don't hear anybody talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if it would have been under a different title and using different, a different approach, I'd probably be on board with it being underrated. But
Okay. So, kind of segueing back to original animation styles and how long it takes to make an anime and how much work goes into that. Um, with the surgence of AI, what are your thoughts on like AI created anime, or should animators be using it to make their shows? Because I know there's a lot of controversy out there about AI
yeah,
created art.
So I do have a opinion on this one. I know AI is going to continue to be used more and more, and it's going to be more and more prolific. And it's going to get to a point where you can't really compete without some form of use of it. Unfortunately, I do acknowledge that that is just the route that society is going. So I would like to see artists coming up with their own unique work, and then AI only used as a way to do like the transitions from the animated part, transitioning from standing this way to that way or whatever, and help smooth the transitions out, but still having actual artists working on everything. I
Yeah.
could definitely get behind that. But as far as AI actually writing and making these, I don't think I can support that.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. I think it should be used as a tool, not a crutch.
Exactly. Like, "Oh, I need to make this motion smooth, and it's just getting hung up on this one thing. Oh, hey, AI, can you do the coding to figure out this little spot here so it's a smooth movement?" Sure.
You know what anime I would love to see be turned into a live action?
Fruits Basket?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Ooh, that would be a tough one though, too.
Yeah, they would need
Because
a lot of help with special effects and everything, but I feel like
yeah, the
watching
CGI that would be required is
yeah.
is very high level.
I wanna see Itadori eating Sukuna's fingers in a live action, and
That
then
is like
domain
the
expansion. Oh my god.
Okay, that would be cool. Domain expansion, live action, I could totally get into that. The finger eating, I mean, I don't know about that. That gets a little that
It's so
yeah,
gross.
there's certain
It's
ones
so
I do
gross.
not wanna see live action, like Dan to Dan would be another one that I do not wanna see a
Oh,
live
that would
action
be
adaptation.
so weird.
It
That
would, that opening, the episode 1, I'd be like,
no,
"I
I'm
can't
out.
watch this. I'm committing a crime just watching it. I can't watch
Yeah,
this."
it's unethical.
Exactly. I
Oh,
don't think I
man.
could do that.
Ooh. So is there what do you think the future of the anime fandom is gonna look like now
So
that
the
we've got streaming services, now
Mhm.
that it's getting really popular on social media and TikTok
Sure.
especially?
Yeah, and in hip hop and in a lot of mainstream things, sports,
Mhm.
even okay, it's everywhere.
Oh,
So do I think it's gonna be even more prevalent going in the future? 100%.
yeah.
You're gonna see daily outfits inspired by anime characters.
Mm,
Um, I think you're gonna see more and more bands inspired by anime characters. I think you're gonna see full novels inspired by people's favorite anime.
mhm,
And manga. I mean, it's already anime comic books. I mean, most of the anime we watch come from manga books to begin with,
mhm,
and then are translated onto the screen that way, which is interesting because then we translate them into movies, and then we translate the movies into live action. It's like, how
mhm.
many different iterations does this one writing go through? It's already super prolific.
Well, Nate, this has been a really interesting conversation.
Absolutely. This is one of those subjects where I could go into deep detail and just talk for days and days and days. But I mean, we don't really have that time. So,
Not today anyway.
no, so we try
But
to sum it up.
tell us our listeners, our followers, tell us your gateway anime and your all-time favorite if you have one, because we definitely want to know. Let us know in the comments, and don't
Absolutely. Tell us what you guys think.
don't forget to like and subscribe. You can
Yes.
find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Thank
We'll
you for
see you
listening.
next time. Bye.